Hey guys, another video for our Buying a House in Japan playlist. So we're on the edge of a small town in Japan. It's only a small town, it's not big enough to be a city. And there's this sort of new estate, relatively new estate, that will give you an idea of what's average in an area like this. We've showed you some really tiny blocks before. This area sort of has average size blocks with average size houses for the average new estate. And of course out here in the countryside, which is where we are, we're really surrounded by rice fields and bamboo forests, and we're out in the countryside here, but people still like to buy these new houses on these new estates because it all has a new modern feeling to it. But of course for the price of one of these houses they could go and buy something down the road that would be 5 times bigger with an old house on it. But that's not what they want. They want this new modern street, modern building. So they're paying for these, they're paying about $130,000. That's the equivalent to $130,000 for the block of land, just for the vacant block of land. And then they're building one of these little houses that's probably going to cost them about 200 maybe a bit more depending on what sort of fittings they put in it, maybe 250. So they end up spending somewhere between 350 and 400 with all the bits and pieces that go with it. They end up with a house and enough land to park 2 cars is usually what they end up with. The sides and the back of the house are nothing but about a metre wide piece of stone. Usually they lay down pebbles and that's it. So both sides and the rear of the house usually are about a metre from the boundary with just stones there to stop weeds growing. And the front of the house usually has some concrete and parking for 2 cars, and that's it. So, got the unskilled surveyor to pace this one out for you. So it's 16 paces by 11 paces. It's about 16 by 11 meters, which is going to be, what's that, about 180 square meters. Somewhere between 180 and 200 square meters at the most for $130,000. So compared with other places in Japan, that's actually pretty cheap. Usually, there's a lot of places that we know where 200 square meters would be about $200,000. So it is sort of cheap, and it's just because it's out in the middle of nowhere. Just a bit of trivia too, there was a very old supermarket in this spot, and it failed, so they demolished the supermarket and divided it up into all these little blocks, and then sold them off. So somewhere between 180 and 200 square meters maybe. So you can see here's the side of the neighbour's house. So those bricks there are the boundary, so that's how close the neighbours are going to be. And then you can just see they've got facility air conditioners and heaters and things, water heaters and things. And there's between 2 houses there, look. That's it. So open one window, you could reach out one window there and shake your neighbour's hand reaching out the neighbour's window, couldn't you? But they like this. They don't want the old house out on the big piece of land. They want to live in the suburbs. Anyway, there it was. More videos coming soon.